The question is, how do we cope in a world where there's a lot of confusion, deception, lies, misinformation, disinformation, propaganda? How do we know who to trust? The first thing to realise is that we have an inner knowing. If we are simply just sifting through stuff that's shot to us from the outside, well, we're going to be confused necessarily, because so many of those things are contradictory. They don't stack up together. So you have to come from an inner knowing of who you are, what your values are, where you're going in life, and then you know what to take on board and what to reject. You know, what to attempt to assimilate into your worldview and what to jettison. Now, this can cause a narrowing sometimes, but you must have a built-in factor that allows you to try and come to terms with opinions that you might not necessarily agree with. So we need to have a clear worldview and a sound philosophy, if you like, that attracts the relevant information that we need to build and support and explain and sustain such a worldview. But we also need a balancing and corrective mechanism as well, which means that we need to listen to opinions outside that echo chamber. So if all you hear is one narrative, one story, then there is a danger of becoming ossified and rigid and blinkered. So we want our minds to be supple. We want our minds to be open to truth coming in various forms. Now, I know this might sound like a difficult tension, because I began by saying, if you just open your mind to everything, you're going to get lots of contradictory elements pouring in, and they're not going to gel and they're not going to make sense, and you're going to be stuck when it comes to action because you don't know what to act on, you don't know whom to trust. So you need to come from a unified worldview, but then you need to intentionally and deliberately expose yourself to the best possible opinions that fall outside of that worldview, that challenge it, right? That oppose it. And then you need to constantly refresh your discernment and meet the challenge head on, and remind yourself why you do not subscribe to those other views. And as you remind yourself why you hold the view that you hold, but it has to be a tested view. You have to test it in the marketplace of ideas, in the battlefield of opinions. As you test those views, you will shore up your own belief system, if it's a belief system that's worth having. And we've all got a belief system. And if you are to be a conscious and integrated individual, you must at some point bring that belief system into the foreground of awareness and be able to articulate it as well.